Welcome to Podnutz Daily for April 27th, 2009, episode number 165. Just want to reiterate the announcement that the shows are at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from now on, not 6 o'clock. So if you tune in at 6 and nobody's here and I'm not on, wait a half an hour and all will be well. This is pretty exciting for me. This is probably rather surprising announcement for some of you guys. I'm starting a new podcast. I'm going to give it a 2-week trial period and see how it goes. And I got this idea from a listener from the Great Tech Debate, which I'll talk about a little later in the show. We had an awesome Great Tech Debate on last Saturday. And I talked to him afterwards. His name's Jay. He's going to be on this coming up week for Great Tech Debate. He has a podcast called thedeltasector.com, I believe. Thedeltasector.com. I don't know. Is he in the chat room? I don't see him in there. And I watched one of his episodes, and it's a late-night tech podcast. He starts at like 9 o'clock, and he goes till whenever, I think an hour or two, but it's a late-night show. And I never thought of it. To me, that was a great idea. What am I doing at 12 o'clock at night? I'm like watching Leno or watching Jimmy Fallon. Am I tired? No. What would be more fun than watching them? Podcasting. So, starting tonight, Podnutz at Night, it's a new podcast, 12 o'clock p.m. Going to do it Monday through Friday for 2 weeks, see how it goes. 12 p.m., that's right, you heard me right, Eastern Standard Time. So, if you're on the East Coast, 12 o'clock. If you're on the West Coast, it will be at, 9 o'clock. And then in the middle, you guys figure it out. But tune in. It's going to be live. Go to podnutz.com to see it live. What's it going to be about? Well, it's going to be a tech talk show. And I want to basically make it almost all live call-in show. Podnutz at Night. So if you want to talk tech, call me on that show. I'm not going to really have an agenda. There's not going to be me talking about computer repairs. If nobody calls in, I'll think of something to talk about, but it's going to be tech, gadgets, Apple, Mac, Apple PC, whatever we're talking about. Yes, it's crazy. No drunken callers. Yes, no drunken callers. Unless you're very entertaining and have something to talk about. I'm still going to keep it PG here, guys, okay? So even though it's at night, you know what I mean? The sensors are still on. So let's see how that goes. Check it out tonight, 12 o'clock p.m., first episode, Podnutz at Night. It will probably be eventually called Nuts at Night. I could see it transforming into that, but until I establish that that's not there's no sexual innuendo there, we're going to keep it Podnutz at Night, okay? Nuts at Night. It's too perfect of a name, and you could say, oh yeah, you're copying Leo, Ned at Night, but Nuts at Night, it just has a beautiful, hilarious ring to it, you got to admit. So don't get the wrong idea about that podcast. It's going to be about tech, but join me tonight, 12 o'clock. I'm never sleeping at that time anyway. This is going to be a perfect thing for me to do something before I just try to go to sleep. I'm never tired that late. I'm always falling asleep at like 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. after I watch Poker After Dark. So this ought to be perfect for me. And if you guys are up, join me. Podnutz.com to watch Podnutz at Night. Tonight, we're going to stream it live. Every week we're going to do it. Okay. Yes, it will be available on iTunes. All the podcasts are going to be available on iTunes on their own feeds. I'm working with that now. I just got to get Drupal on my website set up so I could do the feeds. But every podcast is going to have its own feed, and that will definitely have its own feed. Okay, I'm glad you guys like that idea. I think it's going to be cool too. Let's see what I just got myself into. Okay, I finally got solved a computer I've been working on. It's like a 1993. It's an old PC. It's a 286 a guy brought in. And it's just giving me a huge, huge problem. He came in with his daughter, who's probably about 50 years old now. And she's like, I want to buy him a new computer, but he won't let me. And he's like, I have this computer. It runs Lotus 123. That's all I want to do with it. And she's trying to get me to buy a new computer. So the goal was to either get his computer that he brought in fixed or to buy a new computer and load it up so he could he could do his Lotus 123 on like a Windows XP machine, which I don't even know if you can do. So my first priority was like, all right, if this guy just wants, he's happy with his computer, he just wants it fixed, let's just fix it. The problem with it was every once in a while, he would start it up and there would be green gobbledygook ASCII characters all over the screen. And it only happened intermittently. So we popped the computer open to see if there's any noticeable hardware problem. And what we thought was a capacitor was just exploded sitting there on the motherboard. So we're like, okay, that probably is the problem there. You got a blown capacitor. Well, we later found out that was the battery. You know how computers have watch batteries now on the motherboard? This was a cell. It wasn't quite a watch battery, but it looked like almost like a squashed up AA. Sitting on the motherboard with two leads connected to it. That's how old this thing was. And we thought it was a capacitor. Now, after we found out it was a battery, we realized that couldn't be causing the problem with the machine. So there was another hardware problem wrong with the actual machines. But since we originally thought that the motherboard was bad, we said, okay, we're just going to take this hard drive and his 5¼ inch floppy, and we're going to transplant them into a newer machine. Now, I have a couple of machines that are like old Pentium 3s or Celerons that have ISA ports as well as PCI ports, and he needed an ISA port because that's where his controller card was. It controlled his hard drive and his floppy drive. So I said, okay, we're perfect. We have a computer that has both ports. This should work perfect for what we're going to do. And we tried to transplant his hard drive and 5¼ drive into a new machine. We plugged a controller card in the ISA port, and just nothing. The BIOS didn't like it. It wouldn't boot from it. We found out it was because it was 8-bit. It needed to be 16-bit, otherwise it wouldn't work. I handed it over to Mike Petro. He couldn't figure it out. Then we just got to the point where we just wanted to get the data off of his hard drive. That's all we wanted. But since it was like this old school Seagate MLM or MFM, I can't remember the type of hard drive it was. MFM, I think it was. Old hard drive, big fat one. I guess it's the size of a 5¼ inch floppy drive is how big it was. Well, I couldn't plug it into anything. It had a different plug than the normal hard drives today. And I actually have a couple emails people sent me about this, but I did get it solved. I basically, after we tried transplanting this, we went full circle. I went back to his original machine. I took his video card out of one ISA port and I moved it to another one, the one right next to it, and all the green gobbledygook went away. So I think I solved the problem in his original machine. I put his hard drive and floppy drive back, and after about 3 hours of trial and error of putting the cables onto the controller card and onto the hard drive and onto the floppy drive in about 10,000 different sequences, I finally got the right one where it would boot from the hard drive, and it would also boot from the floppy if you had a bootable floppy in there.